Today you're going to learn the ultimate lucid dreaming technique. The best lucid dreaming technique in the world, and no, I'm not exaggerating. It's the technique that every true expert lucid dreamer uses. And no, it's not mild, filed, siled, wake back to bed, it's definitely not 90-isled, it's none of the techniques you've ever heard of before. But I can guarantee that if you watch to the end of the video, you're going to be so much better at lucid dreaming that it's almost silly. And if you're completely new to the channel and you don't know who this person is, I'm Daniel Love. I'm a lucid dreaming teacher and researcher, a best-selling author, so my opinion on lucid dreaming kinda counts a little bit, and hopefully this will change how you look at lucid dreaming forever. In order to understand this lucid dreaming technique, we need to look at another popular lucid dreaming technique, and there is none more popular or well-known than MILD, the mnemonic induction of lucid dreams by Stephen LaBerge. So you may think that you know what MILD is, in fact you probably practice MILD regularly, but just following the steps of a technique is not the same as doing the technique correctly. So before we jump into what today's technique is, let's look at the steps for MILD, which will make you understand what the ultimate technique is. So mnemonic induction of lucid dreams sounds really fancy and fiddly, but basically what it boils down to is memory-induced lucid dreams. But in order to really comprehend MILD and to understand today's technique, let's have a look closer at what MILD is. It can be basically boiled down into two steps. In his book, LaBerge lays out many more steps, but really it's just two things that you're doing. So the first phase of MILD is to wake up in the night after a dream, and then to recall the dream you've had, and then to reimagine it as if you became lucid in that dream. So you look at the dream and then analyze where you should have realized you were dreaming. Now stage 2 of MILD is to set an intention using your prospective memory, that's where the mnemonic comes from, to remember to recognize that you're dreaming later in the night and hopefully in a dream, cueing lucidity. Now that's how most people understand and practice the MILD technique, and this is where today's technique jumps in. So here's the problem with every lucid dreaming technique out there, and unfortunately how most people use lucid dreaming techniques. The problem is that most people, when they're doing a lucid dream technique, follow it as if it's a recipe, not thinking about what they're doing, not thinking about why they're doing it. And as a result, most people when they're using techniques find them to be ineffective, and also as a weird side effect, loads of really silly techniques creep into the world of lucid dreaming and nobody ever questions them. How can we fix this? Well, we can fix it with today's technique. And the technique is called why. The why technique. So it boils down to the simplest possible concept ever. Never do anything relating to lucid dreaming, no techniques, no practices, without knowing why you're doing it. What is the purpose of what you're doing? If you're blindly following instructions, just assuming they're going to work, then you don't even know the principles behind what you're doing, which makes it incredibly easy to do it wrong. But when you do ask why, and you understand why it is you're doing something, suddenly the technique itself doesn't matter as much, because when you understand the principles, you can play with them, you can make them work for your mind. And here's why hitting the like button, subscribing, and leaving your comments below is something I always ask, because it really helps the channel. So this might be a little bit confusing, so let's go back to MILD and use the why technique. So stage 1 of MILD, recalling your previous dream and then analysing it for where you should have become lucid and reimagining it as if you had become lucid. Why do we do that? Well, it's not for an imagination exercise, it's not some kind of manifestation, it's not wishing, and it's not just doing it for the sake of it. The reason Why we do this practice is because when you imagine and remember your previous dream and analyze it for the ways you should have become lucid, what are you actually doing? You're engaging the very parts of your brain that are required for lucidity. So it's the middle of the night, most of your brain has been shut down, and suddenly you're having to do this analytical task, and it's bringing online your prefrontal cortex. So now you know why stage 1 of mild exists, and you can use other ways to bring your prefrontal cortex online if you want to. And we can do the same with stage 2. Why do we tell ourselves to remember to recognize that we're dreaming in the future? Well, we're activating our prospective memory, our way to remember to do things in the future, because we want that thought to bubble up in the middle of a dream, and because we've already activated our prefrontal cortex a little more than usual, that should lead to a lucid dream. When you start asking, why am I doing this? It gives you a new insight into lucid dreaming. You are then constantly learning what it is you're supposed to be doing. And also, as you do this, you start to realize when a technique is good or bad, when it's lacking certain things, and how you can improve upon it. But by asking why, you're no longer a zombie blindly following instructions, but you're becoming a lucid dreamer who understands why they are doing what they're doing. By asking, why do I do this? Why is this important? You start to look at lucid dreaming in a different way. You will stop wasting your time on empty practices, you will stop making mistakes, and you will understand this subject. You will understand your mind much more, and you'll eventually become an expert lucid dreamer. So take everything you think you know about lucid dreaming and reassess it, asking why. And it will change how you think about lucid dreaming forever. And if you want to explore lucid dreaming further, watch one of the videos on the screen right now.